You are here with Senor DeVries, and we are continuing with Inside Out and Back Again. Page 162. Neighbors. Eggs explode like smears of snot on our front door. Just dumb kids, says our cowboy. Bathroom paper hangs like ghosts from our willow. More dumb kids, says our cowboy. A brick shatters the front window, landing on our dinner table, along with a note. Brother Quang refuses to translate. Mother shakes her head when Vuli pops his muscles. Our cowboy calls the police, who tells us to stay inside. Hogwash, our cowboy says, and then spits a brown blob of tobacco. I repeat hogwash, puckering the end of the shh. Mother decides we must meet our neighbors. Our cowboy leads us, giving us each a cowboy hat to be tilted while saying, "Good mornin'." Only I wear the hat in the house. To our right, a bald man closes his door. Next to him, a woman with yellow hair slams hers. Next to her, shouts reach us behind a door unopened. Redness crawls across my brothers' faces. Mother pats their backs. Our cowboy leads us to the house on our left. An older woman throws up her arms and hugs us. We're so startled we stand like trees. She points to her chest. "Miss Washington," and hugs our cowboy and kisses him. I thought only husbands and wives do that when alone. We find out Miss Washington is a widow and a retired teacher. She has no children, but has a dog named Lassie and a garden that takes up her backyard. She volunteers to tutor us all. My time with her will be right after school. I'm afraid to tell her how much help I'll need. September 14th. New word a day. Miss Washington has her own rules. She makes me memorize one new word a day and practice it 10 times in conversation. For every new word that sticks to my brain, she gives me fruit in bite sizes, drowning in sweet white fluff, cookies with drops of chocolate small as rain, flat, round, pan-dried cakes floating in syrup. My vocabulary grows. She makes me learn rules I've never noticed, like a, an, and the, which act as little megaphones to the world whose English is still secondhand. The house is red, but we live in a house. A, an, and the do not exist in Vietnamese, and we understand each other just fine. I pout, but Miss Washington says every language has annoyances and illogical rules, as well as sensible beauty. She has an answer for everything, just like Mother. September 16th. More is not better. I now understand when they make fun of my name, yelling ha 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 down the hall. When they ask if I eat dog meat, barking and chewing and falling down laughing. When they wonder if I lived in the jungle with tigers, growling and stalking on all fours. I understand because Brother Coy nodded into my head on the bike ride home when I asked if kids said the same thing at his school. I understand and wish I could go back to not understanding. September 19th. Hallelujah. Our cowboy says our neighbors would like be more like neighbors if we agreed to something at the Delray Southern Baptist Church. I've seen the church name on a sign where blaring yellow sun rays spell God. Our cowboy and his wife wait for us in the very first row. He's smiling, and she's not. A plump man runs onto stage shouting. Everyone except us greets him. Hallelujah. The more he shouts, the more everyone sings Hallelujah. Later, a woman smelling of honeysuckle signals for all of us to follow. Mother and I are told to change into shapeless white gowns. We line up in a hallway too bright and too bare, where my brothers await us, frowning, all wearing the same shapeless white gowns. I giggle. Mother pinches me and then steps forward first. The plump man waits for her in a tiny pool. One hand holds her nose, another hand on her back, pushing her under. I start to jump into the pool, but Mother is standing again, coughing. Hair matted to her face, eyes narrowing at me. Each of my brothers gets dipped. My turn comes no matter how. I laser eye Mother to stop it. And yet, it's not over. We must get dressed and line up on stage next to the plump man, our cowboy, and his smiling wife. Her lips curl up even more as people line up to kiss our cheeks. Drops from wet hair drip down my back. Bumps enlarge on my chilled skin, and I realize we will be coming back every Sunday. September 21st. Can't help. Mother taps her nails on the dining table, her signal for solitude to chant. I shuffle off to our room, but am still with her, through my ears. She chants. Such quiet tones after a day of shouts and hallelujahs. Clang, 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 a spoon chimes against a glass bowl. Nothing like clear streamed bell echoes from a brass gong. Instead of jasmine incense, Mother burns dried orange peels. Ashy bitter citrus invades our room. Nothing like the floral waifs that once calmed me. I try, but can't sleep. Needing amethyst ring twirls and her lavender scent. I'm not as good as Mother at making do. Finally she comes in and turns from me, her signal for more time alone. I lie frozen, sniffing for traces of lavender. Too faint. Yet I dare not roll closer. She sighs, extends it into a sniffle. Where are you? Should we keep hoping? She thinks I am asleep. More sniffles, so gentle. I would miss them by inhaling too deeply. Come home, and see how our children have grown. All my life I've wondered what it's like to know someone for forever, then poof, he's gone. Another sigh. It's more difficult here than I imagined. I thought so despite her own rule. Mother can't help yearning for father any more than I can help tasting the ripe papaya in my sleep. September 21st, late. Spelling rules. Sometimes the spelling changes when adding an S. Knife becomes knives. Sometimes a C is used instead of a K, even if it makes more sense for cat to be spelt K-A-T. Sometimes a Y is used instead of an E, even if it makes more sense for moldy to be spelt M-O-L-D-E. Whoever invented English should have learned to spell. September 30th. Cowboy's gifts. Our cowboy likes to bring us gifts. The breathing catfish was Mother's favorite. I could watch Vu Lee kill and clean it, but it tasted so good. After getting us dipped at church, our cowboy brought gifts even more often. Vu Lee always asks for beef jerky, pointing to his muscles. I prefer really fat grapes. Today our cowboy brings chips and chocolate. My brother and I finish the chips in a flash. Later Mother throws away what's left of the candy. After she falls asleep, I retrieve the bars. They'll be better than hard rolls for lunch. October 4th. Someone knows. My word for today is delicious. Miss Washington asks, was your lunch delicious? Before speaking, I have to translate in my head. She waits. I eat candy in toilet. Miss Washington looks panicked. What? I realize my mistake. Oh, the toilet. She doesn't look any happier. I add, not candy all time. But you always eat in the bathroom? She asked. I nod. Why? How can I explain dragonflies do somersaults in my stomach whenever I think of the noisy room full of mouths chewing and laughing? I'm still translating when her eyes get red. I'll pack you a lunch and you can eat at your desk, she says. No eat in class, I tell her. I'll fix that, she says. Things will get better, just you wait. I don't believe her, but it feels good that someone knows. October 13th. Most relieved day. At lunch the next day I stay in class. Miss Scott nods. Can it be this easy? Inside my first brown paper bag, a white meat sandwich, an apple, crunchy curly things sprinkled with salt, and a cookie dotted with chocolate raindrops. Something salty, something sweet. Perfect. I hear pounding footsteps in the long hall. I stop chewing. Two students run into class giggling. I firm my muscles ready for the giggles to explode into laughter thrown at me. But smiles appear instead. The girl has red hair swaying to her bottom, a skirt falling to her calves. She says, Pam. I hear Pem. The boy of coconut shell skin is dressed better than for church. A purple bow tie, a white shirt that wouldn't wrinkle even if he rolled down a hill. He shaved his head. Is so shiny and perfect I want to touch it. He speaks slowly and loudly, but I don't mind because he's still smiling. He says, Stephen. I have not seen them in class, but then I mostly stare at my shoes. I will write in my journal, October 14th is most relieved day. As I've noted, April 30th was Saigon is Gone Day, and September 2nd was longest day ever. Though I was saving Most Relieved Day for Father's return, he can have the title My Life's Best Day, October 14th. Smart again. Pink boy stands at the board. He can't multiply 18 by 42. I go to the board, chalk the answer in 5 moves. My cheekbones lift to the ceiling until I see the horror of the faces of Pem and Stephen. Pink boy is glowing red against white hair, white eyebrows, and white eyelashes. Miss Scott nudges me toward my seat. Pem reaches for my hand, hers trembling. I know Pink boy will get me, but right now I feel smart. October 20th. Hair. One day the honey-haired girl takes her pink ribbons and knots pigtails in my hair. She stares, shakes her head, yanks back her ribbons. Pink don't look good on you. Then 3 girls of bronze-bred skin remove colorful barrettes from their hair and twist onto my head so many braids. The girl's hair holds the shape of the braids even without barrettes. Pem and Stephen nod, so I keep still. Walking home, my shadow shows eels dancing on my head, with tails in shapes of bows, stars, hearts. Mother and brothers notice, pause, then go on with their day. It isn't easy to sleep on a pile of plastic barrettes. The next morning, when the girls slip off the barrettes, my hair falls back to being straight. The girls yank my flat strands, walk away. I've spent my life wishing for long hair, and this is what I get. October 23rd. The busy one. Vu Li no longer has time for just me. At sunrise, he throws newspapers onto porches. After school, he flips perfect circles of beef. At sunset, he teaches Bruce Lee moves in our front yard. We line up in 5 rows, squatting and shifting, the only moves he has taught us. I make sure to get into the front row. First came the eager boys. Next came the giggly girls. Then came our neighbors who couldn't help their curiosity. They wave back now, at times bringing jiggly, colorful food we don't eat. Everyone in Vu Li's class wears yellow. Some even bought suits exactly like Bruce Lee's. Brother Quang and Koi joined too. Once I saw Mother behind the curtain smiling. I squatted low and sturdy then. October 28th. War and Peace. Miss Scott shows the class photographs of a burned, naked girl running and crying down a dirt road, of people screaming, climbing, desperate to get on the last helicopter out of Saigon, of skeletal refugees crammed aboard a sinking fishing boat, reaching up to the heavens for help, of mounds of combat boots abandoned by soldiers of the losing side. She's telling the class where I'm from. She should have shown something about papayas and Tet. But no one would believe me, but at times I would choose wartime in Saigon over peacetime in Alabama. October 29th. Pancake face. Pam is dressed in a skirt to the floor like the pioneers in our textbook. Stephen wears a beard like Abraham Lincoln. I didn't know today is pretend day. Pink boy keeps asking, "What are you?" By the end of school, he yells an answer. Should be a pancake. She has a pancake face. It doesn't make sense until it does. I run, hearing laughter loud, 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 which echoes when Mother comes home. I can't keep the day inside anymore. Mother asks, "What's a pancake?" Tears gush because I can't make myself explain a pancake is very, very flat. October 31st, Halloween.